Meeting a coworker unexpectedly at the bus stop.
Meeting a coworker unexpectedly at the bus stop.
Hey, I didn't expect to see you here at this bus stop. Do you usually take the bus from here?
Hi. No, not really. I had some errands in the area earlier, so I figured I'd just hop on the bus from here instead of my usual stop. How about you?
Oh, this is my regular spot. But I don't think I've seen you here before. It's nice running into you like this.
Yeah, it's a nice surprise. By the way, the weather's so pleasant today. A cool morning like this makes waiting for the bus much easier.
Absolutely. And it's not too humid, which is always a bonus. Hopefully, the bus isn't too crowded when it arrives.
Fingers crossed. By the way, when was the last time we saw each other? Was it during that project meeting last month?
Yeah, I think so. That was a busy week, wasn't it? Speaking of which, how's your project going? Still keeping you on your toes?
Oh, definitely. It's been non-stop meetings and deadlines. But at least we're making good progress. How about you? How's your workload these days?
Not too bad, thankfully. Things have slowed down a bit after that big campaign wrapped up. I'm actually getting some breathing room now.
That's great to hear. It's always good to have a little downtime. So, are you heading to the office now or somewhere else?
Yeah, just heading to the office. It's my usual morning routine. How about you?
Same here. I'm heading in for a late morning meeting. Let's hope it's a productive one.
Definitely. Oh, here comes the bus. Let's get on before it gets too full.
Sounds good. Let's catch up more on the ride.
So, that meeting you mentioned earlier, what's it about?
Oh, it's just a progress update for the ABC initiative. Nothing too intense, but I still need to prep for it. By the way, it's been ages since we last really caught up. How's everything going with you these days?
Things have been pretty good, just the usual hustle at work. I've been trying to squeeze in some jogging lately to balance things out. It's my way of staying sane.
That's a great habit. I wish I could do the same, but mornings are too chaotic with the kids. It's all about getting them ready and out the door.
I can imagine. Speaking of the kids, did you do anything fun with your family over the weekend?
We actually went for a picnic at the park. The kids loved it, and it was nice to unplug for a bit. How about you? Any fun plans?
Not quite as relaxing as a picnic. I had to catch up on some reading for work, but I did grab coffee with friends on Sunday. That was a nice little escape.
Oh, that sounds nice. Coffee dates are always refreshing. By the way, I heard your team just finished that XYZ project. How did it go?
It went well, but it was definitely a challenge. Tight deadlines and all, but the client was happy, so it was worth the effort.
That's great to hear. Challenging projects are stressful, but they're so rewarding when everything comes together.
Absolutely. How's your project coming along? I think you mentioned the ABC initiative earlier.
Yeah, it's still ongoing, but we're making good progress. There were some bumps in the road, but nothing we couldn't manage.
That's great. You're really good at handling those high-pressure situations.
Thanks, I try. Speaking of which, are you still painting? I remember you mentioning that a while ago.
Not as much as I'd like. Things have been so busy, but I'm hoping to pick it up again soon. It's such a good way to relax.
You should. I'd love to see some of your work when you do.
Definitely. And you? Any new hobbies or interests lately?
I've been trying my hand at baking. It's been fun experimenting, and my kids love being the official taste testers.
That's awesome. You'll have to bring some of your creations to the office one day.
Maybe I will. Oh, here's our stop. Shall we walk together for a bit?
Sure, let's go.
So, how's the baking hobby coming along? I keep thinking about those taste testers of yours. Have you tried anything new recently?
Oh, definitely. I made a batch of chocolate chip muffins last weekend, and they were a big hit with the kids. I'm thinking of trying something more adventurous next, like croissants. What about you? Any new jogging routes or hobbies lately?
Jogging's still my go-to, but I've also started watching more movies lately to unwind. Speaking of which, I watched this incredible sci-fi film last night. Do you like movies?
I do. Sci-fi especially. There's just something so fascinating about exploring different worlds and ideas. What was the movie?
It was Interstellar. I know it's not exactly new, but it's my first time seeing it. The visuals and the story were just mind-blowing. Have you seen it?
Yes, and I loved it. The whole concept of time dilation really got me thinking. Speaking of mind-blowing, did you hear about the surprise party the accounting team threw last week? I couldn't make it, but I heard it was amazing.
Oh, I heard about that. They went all out with the decorations and even had a karaoke session. I wish I could have joined. Maybe we should suggest something similar for our team. What do you think?
That's a great idea. A little team bonding would do us all some good. Maybe we could even make it a potluck so I can show off my baking.
Perfect. I'll bring snacks too. Speaking of distressing, what do you usually do to relax after a long day?
Besides baking, I like reading. It's a great way to escape and unwind. Lately, I've been into mystery novels. How about you?
Reading sounds great. For me, it's jogging, movies, or sometimes just zoning out with a good podcast. Have you tried any good podcasts lately?
Definitely. There's this one called Hidden Brain. It's about psychology and human behavior. I think you'd enjoy it since you're into mysteries and stories.
That sounds intriguing. I'll check it out. By the way, did you hear about the upcoming company town hall? I think it's happening next week.
Yeah, I saw the email. It'll be interesting to hear updates on the new projects. Maybe we can chat more about it afterward.
For sure. Oh, this is my stop. Let's catch up again soon, maybe over coffee or during that potluck we're planning.
Sounds like a plan. Take care and good luck with those croissants.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Phew, we made it just in time. Looks like it's not too crowded today. That's a relief.
Yeah, it's nice to have a bit of space. Sometimes during rush hour, it feels like we're all sardines in a can. Do you usually take this bus?
Pretty much every day. It's convenient for me since it stops near my place. What about you? I don't think I've seen you on this route before.
Not often. My usual stop is on a different route, but I was running errands in this area today, so here I am. How long have you been taking this bus?
Oh, for a while now. I've even figured out the best times to avoid the rush. Early mornings and late evenings are usually the best. Do you have any tricks for beating the crowds?
Not really. I usually just brace myself and hope for the best. But I have to admit, this is a much calmer ride than I expected.
For sure. Speaking of bus rides, do you ever read or listen to music during the commute?
I'm more of a podcast person. It's a great way to pass the time. Lately, I've been hooked on Hidden Brain, thanks to your recommendation earlier.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Podcasts are perfect for commutes. I also like reading, but only if I can find a seat. Standing and reading just doesn't work for me.
Same here. I tried once and nearly fell over when the bus stopped suddenly. Do you ever run into funny moments on the bus?
Oh, all the time. One time, the driver started singing over the intercom to cheer everyone up during a traffic jam. It was hilarious and kind of sweet. What about you?
There was this one time when someone's phone started blasting a ringtone, and it turned into an impromptu karaoke session. Everyone joined in. It was so random but fun.
That sounds amazing. It's moments like those that make commuting a little more bearable. By the way, are you heading straight to the office after this?
Yeah, I've got that progress meeting I mentioned earlier. What about you?
Same here. But I might grab a coffee first. It's always nice to have a little pick-me-up before diving into emails.
Good idea. Maybe we could grab coffee together one of these days before work. It'd be a nice way to start the day.
I'd love that. Speaking of starting the day, it's interesting how different people approach mornings. Do you have any morning rituals?
Besides wrangling the kids? Not much. But I do try to take 5 minutes to just breathe and mentally prepare for the day. How about you?
For me, it's jogging or a quick stretch. It really helps me feel energized. Oh, here's our stop.
Perfect timing. Let's walk together to the office. We can talk more about that coffee plan on the way.
Sounds good. And maybe we can brainstorm some ideas for that potluck while we're at it.
So, now that we're settled on the bus, tell me, do you have any big plans at work for the next few months?
Actually, yes. I'm planning to take a project management course next quarter. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I think it'll really help with my current role. What about you? Any plans for upskilling or exploring new areas?
Funny you ask. I've been thinking about brushing up on my presentation skills. There's a public speaking workshop the company's offering, and I'm considering signing up.
That sounds great. You're already a good speaker, though. What's motivating you to take it?
Thanks, but I feel like there's always room for improvement. Plus, it might help me handle those high-stakes client meetings with more confidence.
Makes sense. Speaking of work perks, I've always enjoyed how the company invests in our growth. But I have to say, the year-end parties are my favorite. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. Last year's party was so much fun, especially with that live band they brought in. Did you join the dance floor?
I did, but only after a lot of convincing from my team. I'm not much of a dancer, but it was hard to resist the energy in the room.
Same here. It's one of those moments where you just have to let go and enjoy. By the way, speaking of fun, do you have any work hacks or tricks you've discovered recently?
Oh, here's one. I found this app that helps organize emails into categories automatically. It's been a game changer for managing my inbox. What about you? Any tips to share?
I've been using templates for recurring emails. It saves so much time, especially for status updates or client follow-ups.
That's smart. I should try that. Email can really eat up so much of the day.
Tell me about it. By the way, have you thought about where you see yourself in the next few years at work? Any long-term goals?
I'd love to lead my own team eventually. It's something I'm working towards step by step. What about you?
I'm aiming to get more involved in strategy. I think contributing to the bigger picture would be really rewarding.
That's exciting. It sounds like we're both thinking about growth in different ways. Oh, speaking of strategy, have you noticed how well our new tools are integrating with our workflows?
I have. The new analytics platform is especially impressive. It's made reporting so much faster. Have you had a chance to explore it yet?
Not in depth, but I'm planning to dive in next week. Maybe you can show me a few tips?
Of course. I'd be happy to. Oh, it looks like our stop is coming up.
Time flies when you're chatting. Let's walk together to the office again. And maybe we can talk more about those long-term plans on the way.
Absolutely. And don't forget to let me know about that project management course. I might want to join you if there's room.
Deal. Let's make it a productive day.
Well, here we are, our stop. Time really flew by on the bus, didn't it?
Well, here we are, our stop. Time really flew by on the bus, didn't it?
Great idea. Speaking of work, don't forget about the 10 a.m. meeting. We were talking about prepping for it earlier. Do you have everything you need?
I think so. I've got the slides ready, but I might tweak a couple of things before we present. By the way, your input on the analytics platform would be really helpful. Any chance you could take a quick look before the meeting?
Absolutely. How about I swing by your desk around 9:30? That'll give us enough time to review and make any last-minute changes.
Perfect. Thanks for that. By the way, I've been meaning to ask. Do you think we should bring up any long-term strategy ideas during the meeting, or keep it focused on short-term goals?
Good question. Maybe we can briefly touch on long-term ideas, but keep the main focus on immediate priorities. That way, we show that we're thinking ahead without derailing the discussion.
That makes sense. You're always so good at balancing those perspectives.
Thanks. I guess all that jogging clears my mind. Speaking of balance, we should definitely grab that coffee sometime soon. I'd love to hear more about your project management course plans.
Absolutely. Let's set a time for later this week. Maybe Thursday morning before work?
Works for me. I'll send you a calendar invite so we don't forget. Oh, and don't forget the potluck we talked about on the bus earlier. I'm counting on those muffins of yours.
No pressure, right? I'll make sure to bake something special. Speaking of food, did you see the email about the new cafeteria menu?
I did. It's about time they added more variety. We should try it out one day, maybe even tie it into our coffee catch-up.
That sounds like a plan. Oh, here we are at the office already.
Time to face the day. Let's catch up after the meeting to talk next steps on the potluck and maybe even brainstorm some long-term strategy ideas.
Definitely. Thanks for the chat. It was a great way to start the morning. Let's make it a productive day.
You too. See you in a bit.